Happy New Year, everyone, and to kick off 2022, I'm going to do a review on a movie that probably should have come out in 2019, but hey, it's better late than never, right? Right? The Kingsman. This is the third instalment to the Kingsman films, once again directed by Matthew Vaughn, although this one's more of a prequel to the first two films and, you know, like a 100 years prequel. Broadly speaking, this is set during the First World War and is, well, about the formation of the Kingsmen. For me, the first Kingsman movie was fantastic, and the sequel was enjoyable, however it did teeter along being too outlandish and too over the top. But I think the bottom line was that both movies were enjoyable, some great fight scenes, and some really great cinematography. You know, the action scenes were not only enjoyable, but just imaginative. So seeing another Kingsman movie coming out but predating 100 years prior, I thought this is a really good move because you can still get that creativeness and that excitement from the great fight choreography that we saw in previous movies, but we're taking away those way too futuristic gadgets, and I also think we got to a point at the end of the second Kingsman film where it was just too much destruction. There was, you know, so many people were dead by then. So it's nice to go back in time where there's a little bit more structure, I guess. And for some reason in my head, I just thought this was going to be, you know, average, and I can say for the most part, I was actually pleasantly surprised. We follow Ralph Fiennes' character as well as his son, played by Dickinson, as the Great War begins to unravel. And I suppose we should probably start with the negatives first then, I guess. And for me, it was that this film almost felt like two movies. You had the foundation and the beginning of the Kingsman, which was all the exciting spy stuff and the action and whatnot. And then every now and then it felt like it dived into this second thematic plot and this entirely different film, which was about Ralph Fiennes' character being overly protective about his son and not wanting his son to join the war. And yes, in a way those two themes do overlap, but when the movie starts going, you get heavily into the first point, which is, you know, them becoming spies almost. And then halfway through, it almost suddenly just changes pace and you feel like you're watching an entirely different movie. And it was a little bit jarring and it ran the risk of doing both themes really half-heartedly. And plus, it just made the film feel that little bit longer. It's not a huge thing, and I think the positives far outweigh the negatives, but I do think there could have been some more consistency in the message and the story they were trying to tell. And that's really it, because the bottom line is that this movie's still really fun. And it's just got such a great cast which is taking us on this ride as well. Everyone feels like they're having a lot of fun with this film, and every person gets a decent chance to shine at some time or other. This is predominantly Ralph Fiennes' movie, but Matthew Vaughn brings in that amazing choreography that we've seen from the previous two Kingsman movies. But the fights in here also feel a little bit clumsy, which in a way makes this quite refreshing. The first two movies had super slick spies and quirky cool gadgets, and it was all smooth running to the most part. Here it kind of just feels like an old man making things up as it goes along, and that adds to the tension because you don't know what's going to go tits up next. And it also just adds a lot more humour to the movie. Dickinson, who I can't say I've seen him in much, also does a really great job in here too. And he also takes part in what I've got to say is probably my favourite fight in the film, which I won't spoil, but takes place during the war segment of this film, and it's just so creative, and I've not seen really anything like it. We also had great supporting acts from Gemma, who was also really great. I feel like she probably could have had a bit more to do. And we also got Djimon, who I feel like for a lot of movies that have come out recently where he starred in, he's been a little bit shafted in terms of his role because he's an amazing actor and he should be allowed to stand out more. I think he gets some really great parts in this film. And of course, the Kingsman movies are only as great as their villains. And Rhys steals the show as Rasputin. But for me, it just wasn't enough. The bits that he's in are undeniably the best parts of the movie, and he's just such an original character, and he takes part in another great action scene. But you get to the midway part and he's pushed aside for another villain in the film, and I feel like it should have been the other way round, that Rasputin should have been the main focus of this film. Okay, yeah, this is getting quite a long review. I mean, bottom line is that I think this is a really entertaining movie and it's worth the watch. If you enjoyed the previous two Kingsman films, this one has that same energy, albeit it feels a little bit slower at times and longer, but I think altogether is still great. But yeah, after like 2.5 years of delays, it's finally out, and it's already been out for a week or two, so you might have already seen it. If you have, you might have different thoughts like I did, and let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on the movie were. If you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, it always helps me out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews of movies, anime, and video games. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye bye.